Okay, so we're here now with Aquamarine, who joined the site in 2009. So he's quite an old 10-gager, and we're here to talk about the differences between back then and now.
Technically, I joined in 2008, actually.
Oh, 2008 was it? I saw 2009 on your profile.
Well, yeah, because I had a different account, but then this one got...
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, even better then, 2008, you've been there the whole time.
Yeah.
So, what was 10-gauge like back then? Oh my god, I just said 10-gauge, 10-gagged.
It was more interesting and a lot more boring, I guess. I don't know, everybody complains about the site being boring now, but back then it was like you could barely do anything. It was only two games you could play. You had castings or rookies, and rookies had 10 people in it. Castings had 20 people, didn't have any of the apples or keys or checks, and I guess there was stars, but that was the first week I was on the site with stars 1. And I remember being able to bet a lot more. You could bet like 100 on a game. So
I wonder if that's unpopular opinion, because I've heard a lot of old people saying that it was better back then. Like, do you think it was worse then?
I don't know, I felt like back then you got to know everybody on the site a lot more than you do now, because you knew every single person on the site because there weren't many people, and there were like really polarizing alliances like Misfits, which was Alisone, Teskova, Baki, Surströmming, Irvin, those people. And I don't know, now it's just a bunch of people I feel like spamming their designs on the blogs page 24/7. So in that regard it was better back then, but I mean the amount of games we have now is better, I think.
So would you say the changes made on 10-gauge are good or bad?
I don't know. I think like frats and stuff are kind of useless, and they weren't really necessary updates that happened to be big updates in Randomizer's mind, but I mean, they didn't really pan out. I mean, Hunger Games and stuff like that were, I guess, good updates. Everybody likes the Hunger Games. I don't particularly like the Hunger Games, but I mean, I miss the duel, but that's never going to come back.
Do you think the new wave of people that have been joining are different then? Because you mentioned designs and stuff. Like, do you think people are more obsessed with designs in the new wave than they used to be?
Definitely. I mean, when the designs page first came out, that was back in 2009 or early 2010. Nobody spammed anything. It was just like whatever designs got plus happened to go into auctions.
When you get achievements on 10-gauge, so say somebody wins a stars, for example, do you think those achievements have less value and meaning to them these days than they would before?
I think it used to be more interesting when people won stars, because at least back then Jubsy was around and he would do like those all-star games and like do an all-winners or a redemption stars game. So it was kind of interesting to follow stars back then. Now it's just kind of one frat seat, one raffle seat, and then 14 people who generally always join stars. Back then it was like a huge deal. Buying black level back then was a huge deal, and then we got all these other new color levels. Now there's like something like 400 TV stars. It's a lot different, and I guess it's not as special anymore.
So because there's a lot of people on the site, there's like a kind of maybe like a division between the older users and the noobs. So have you ever felt like there's been some sort of prejudice towards the noobs, or have you ever personally been prejudiced towards noobs?
The only time I feel is like when I'm in stars, or when any of the old people are in stars. Like if you're up against anybody in stars who hasn't played stars before, or who's the raffle seat winner or the frat seat winner, it's like they're always going to get saved because they're a noob and for no other reason at all. Like, I mean, I'm not popular at all when it comes to stars, but I'll see in the poll box, I'll see all like the old people commenting that they saved me. And like, I'm on pretty good terms with like a lot of the old people, but you'll see all the noobs evicting me because they don't know me at all. I feel like it comes out a lot more when it's in stars. You'll see people on the blogs page complaining about it a lot too, about how like noob power saves lower levels. And I mean, it just kind of creates a divide.
So the theme this week is old 10-gauge. We were wondering, what are some of your favourite ever moments on the website?
In old 10-gauge?
Or new 10-gauge, yeah, in general.
Well, on the old 10-gauge, the most iconic thing that I remember about when I joined the site was the like alliances that dominated 10-gauge. Like now we have all the alliances we have on 10-gauge nowadays are kind of ridiculed, like whether it's the PGA or, you know, like the Click or whatever other alliances there are, these, or SIA or, you know, Toxics. They're just kind of like shit-talked always in the blogs page. Or in the past, when I got on the site, it was like the Misfits, the Night Crew, the Blontourage, and it was like they were all really well respected. Oh, the OC, of course, too.
Does the OC still exist, just out of interest?
I think they do. I'm not in the chat anymore. I think they only have like 11 people in it now, but it's only the people who play League of Legends. Me and Shay used to be in it, but then we like left because John and Lucy didn't get along with us, so I left and we started our own chat, which we call the Cove now. It's like basically half the XOC and like half new people, but there's like 31 people or something in it.
Obviously you've been here the whole time, you've seen a lot of different updates and changes. Is there anything new that you might want to see changed about 10-gag if you could?
I think that, I don't know, adding color levels or some kind of like achievement thing would be good, because there's like 400 people who are TV star, and once you win all the games, like if you win Hunger Games, you win stars, it's kind of like, where do you go from there? Right now I only really play Survivor and rookies every once in a while, but I feel like giving people something to do who have reached that TV star point, because if you've already done everything, it just kind of gets boring, and that's when people start leaving. So, I mean, if there was like some kind of achievement checklist or something that they could go through and do stuff to, keep them on 10 gauge, that'd be a good update.
Yeah, thank you for shedding some light on the old 10 gauge and all of that, so yeah.
Thanks for having me. This is Aquamarine, and you're listening to 10 Gauge Radio.